master aboard the Primrose. What I have here is a belaying pin. Who here has heard the term belay that? Excellent. That term comes from bees. Bees would be found all the way around the railings of the ship, and you would tie the mast sails down to it. Now, in a pinch during a fight, it also works as an excellent bludgeoning weapon because it's messy. And who doesn't like that?
Go. Doesn't matter, go.
Hello, crowd. My name is Draco. I keep the mate over here very, very protected. What I have here in my hand is actually a cap-loaded 45 caliber that was made in the 1800s. The reason why I have this one is because somebody came over and tried to take my mate's life, so I took their life. So this is a 45 caliber. And you guys want to hear this thing fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not firing. I can't hear you guys. You guys want to hear this thing fire?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
That's one. Fire the hole.
Smoke ring.
Nice. All right. Go. The blunderbuss. 75 caliber. Brass barrel. Brass doesn't corrode in the salt air. Originally, the flared barrel was thought to spread the shot pattern more effectively. Physics says that's a lie. It's a Hollywood myth that I would throw rocks, or especially silverware because it's got no force behind it, down this barrel. Shot and shot only. Not a handful of nails, not a handful of glass. Glass would get pulverized to dust. Nails don't have enough mass to fly effectively out of something like this. You're just going to ruin the inside of your barrel and waste your gun. They were known as the deck sweeper. It was very effective. 2 or 3 guys pop over a rail, shoot at a group of sailors like yourselves, and lots of you are going down. I'm going to go fire it now.
Go.
45 caliber.
Fire in the hole!
Fire in the hole!
Huzzah!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Y'all awake now?
I'm awake.
Yeah. Good. We have the tiniest gun on this screw. This is called the top lock box lock. It is brass as well as the blunderbuss. It is a 32 caliber. It's called a box lock because it is square. If it was a round, then it would be a lady's fluff pistol. The gentleman would wear it inside their pocket vest, so when you're dealing at a crooked card game, you can just pull it out inconceivably and just shoot the person underneath the table. It would wound them very well, and it is also inconcealable, so you can pretty much hide it anywhere. You want to hear this thing go off?
Yeah!
Yeah.
Blunderbuss, 75 caliber. Fire in the hole.
Look over flank. Wiggle, wiggle. Another smoke ring. So what's happening here? These are flintlocks, most of them. There's a piece of flint in our hammer. It gets pulled back. There's a term that we've all heard, don't go off half-cocked. I just clicked my gun 1 click. When I do that, I can't depress the trigger. So that's where you get the term, don't go off half-cocked, because then your gun's not going to fire. If I pull it all the way back and close my prison, when I pull the trigger, you should see a little spark. Spark falls down into the pan, lights the powder in the pan, goes through the vent, also known as the touch hole, but we don't say that too often because everyone giggles. Goes through the vent, lights the powder inside, and sends it out. This is a 50 cal Queen Anne flintlock. The original Queen Anne would have had what they called a turn-off barrel. Means right here we have a wedding band. It's a ring that goes around. This part would have unscrewed from the body of the gun. The owner would have seated the charge in the ball, and then screwed the top back on, the rest of the barrel. Made it very cumbersome. If I were in a battle, I'd have to shoot somebody, run, take the gun apart, put it together, come back, shoot somebody again. So it's a little bit cumbersome. J.P. Beck really liked the small size of this gun, as did Blackbeard. You see several pictures of him drawn. He's got 6 guns hanging off rope. Each of those guns was a Queen Anne flintlock. He could pick one up, fire it, drop it, and he'd have more that he could shoot with. This is a smooth bore firearm, as are most of these. If you don't know what smooth bore means, a lot of guns today are rifled. That means when the bullet comes out, it gets a spiral, much like a football. You throw it with a nice spiral, it goes further. If it doesn't have the rifling inside, it just kind of goes where it wants. 50 cal Queen Anne. This is a frizzen stall. Remember I showed you how it made a spark? This is also our safety. Now it won't make a spark. So I'll go and load this up and fire it for you now.
All right, now,
Wait. Back up.
32 caliber. Fire in the hole. Wow!
now, black powder weapons are not always reliable. You have misfires. You miss. You get your powder wet. So I always prefer to carry what's called an Elgin cutlass pistol. Because I really like having a backup plan. This one's a 45 caliber percussion, so I don't have to worry so much about my powder getting wet, and I'll go load it up and fire it off, you good folks.
And Captain should be ready.
Hi, my turn. 50 cal Queen Anne flintlock. Fire in the hole!
All of the other guns, with the exception of the matchlock and the hand cannon, work by a flint or something striking the percussion cap. Flint hits a piece of steel. The wheel lock works completely different. These were developed in the early 1500s by clockmakers. They are the most complicated piece of firearm ever made. They are ridiculous. Inside is a series of gears and springs. The wheel is roughened on the outside. You turn the wheel and it locks. I use a spanner, which is a fancy British word for wrench. The wheel locks. A piece of iron pyrite is set against the wheel where the priming powder goes. When I pull the trigger, gear releases, springs turn the wheel like a modern cigarette lighter. They were prohibitively expensive in the 1500s. They still are. They were impossible to service in the field. Dozens and dozens of small working parts. The average soldier had no business taking one of these apart, and neither do I. I will not be firing this today. I had catastrophic malfunction with it before, and this is the warranted replacement.
On the line.
Elgin cutlass pistol, fire in the hole. This one likes to hammer a few times. All right. Now everything you've seen us play with today, other than the hand cannon, has been single shot. Now the end of technology is multiple shots. Here we have what's called a duck's foot. This, if you were a poor captain, you ran the risk of mutiny. You wanted to get out of your cabin, that is what you'd want.
When you have to absolutely positively kill every soldier below these decks, except no substitute.
All 3 barrels go off at once. Then, some enterprising young man built what's called a pepper box. This is the precursor to the revolver. You would turn the cylinder, which was also the barrel, every time you fired it by hand.
You pull the trigger, you turn it. You pull the trigger, you turn it yourself.
Then, you have this. This is a Colt 1861 Navy revolver.
Sure.
Single action, which meant you couldn't just pull the trigger to shoot it. You had to cock the hammer and then pull the trigger. but you had 6 shots. I have one all set up, and my good friend Draco's gonna go fire it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The last small gun we have on the line today is a reproduction of a Philadelphia Derringer pistol. Does anybody know why the Derringer is famous?
I do.
Why, Captain?
Because that's the same type of gun that was used to kill Abraham Lincoln.
Very good. 45 caliber or 50 depending on the model. John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln in the back of the head from about 3 feet away. Terrible wound. The lead ball mushrooms to 3 times its size when it strikes a foe. Awful wound. Ready on the line.
Ready.
Let's count off with them.
Fire in the hole!
Fire in the hole, sequence 1, count with me. Ready? 1, 2,
1 3/4. Lose the cap.
spin.
Yes. As they do repairs. Has anybody ever heard the term shiver me timbers?
Yep.
This is a shivered timber. Cannonballs don't explode unless you live in Hollywood land. Cannonballs break ships into little bitty pieces. This would come flying at a person at about 750 feet per second and leave a serious wound. Ah, that's taking longer than I thought it would. Cannon charges are generally made beforehand, and the black powder is put in a cloth bag. Powder monkey would grab the bag from the powder room and run it to the cannon. You didn't leave a stack of gunpowder next to your cannon. That's awfully unsafe.
Okay, we'll commence again. 2, 3, 4, 17, 5.
You already had one shot, didn't you?
That would be hard.
Yeah, you already had one.
That's all you got.
And 6.
Wow.
He got one in his malfunction. He started back at 2. You guys weren't paying attention.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. Now we're going to load and fire off our cannon.